Seek joy, play often, pursue adventure. Your brain's going to do the rest. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. My name is Bill Benoist and I am a certified professional career coach in Silicon Valley, and I'm also a student of human behavior. I love reading about psychology and how that may fit into us when we're in career transition or maybe even looking for another job. And I recently read a real fascinating article on why it's important to maintain a positive attitude, why it's important, and from a scientific perspective of this. So let me share this with you. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, she is a professor at the University of North Carolina, and she wrote this paper. It's probably one of the most widely cited papers in her field about maintaining a positive attitude. And so what she talks about here is, imagine for a moment that you're walking in the forest and you come across a tiger. Well, your immediate, reaction is to run. But what she does is she talks about how all the other options out there become very limited in scope. In other words, we're not thinking about these other options. Whether or not they would be good options is not the point. We're just not even thinking about an option of, well, instead of running, let's climb the tree, or let's pick up a stick and fight it, or pick up a leaf, and hide from it. Our immediate reaction is to run away. And what she is really going after here is that when we are angry or we are afraid, that our options out there become limited. We don't think as broadly as we do in a state of contentment or a state of joy. And she went on to prove this. What she did is she took a group of individuals and she divided them up into, 5 groups. One group would look at images that would elicit some joy, joyful thoughts. And in another group, she showed them images that would elicit contentment. And then the control group, the third group, they were shown images that were really kind of neutral in nature. They weren't going to elicit much of anything, just very simple images that, maybe a wall or something. And then there was the fourth group. They were shown images that were going to elicit areas of anger. And then the final group, they were shown images that would elicit feelings of fear. And then what she did is she said, she gave each one of these individuals in all of these groups a piece of paper, and it said, essentially, I would, and then there was 20 blank lines there. So the individuals that, if they were looking at something that was eliciting, say, anger or fear, they would, I would run, or they would write out exactly what they do, or would do. And in the other groups, let's say the one where it would elicit joy, they would have, again, the same thing, I would, and there was 20 lines there. And they were instructed to go out and fill as much as they could out. I would, run and skip, or, I would, eat ice cream. I don't know what it was, but what they found, and this was the interesting part of it, is that individuals who were shown images that elicited fear and anger, what they had written down, was very was not nearly as many statements or answers as when they were asking the same people images that were eliciting joy and contentment, where they had filled out almost the entire paper there. So what she was saying in this study, and what became as one of the most cited studies out there, is that when you are in a positive attitude, when you're maintaining a positive attitude, you see many more options than if you're in a state of fear or anger. So let's take this with, with maybe getting terminated from a job or being let go from a job, maybe in a downsizing or, a reduction of workforce. These things can elicit a lot of fear, and all of a sudden we just become very narrow in our focus as to what we do. Or if you've been terminated. And I, as a career coach, I've worked with a number of individuals who've been terminated, and I can see that anger that may still be inside of them. And they become very almost narrow-minded, as to what options that they have available for them. So what do we do about this? Well, in the same study, she gave 3 really solid examples of what will counteract this, but not only something immediate, but with long-lasting effects. And the first one, and it's something that I've talked about, is meditation. This is something, again, the scientific community has confirmed out there, is meditation can definitely lead you to maintaining a positive attitude. But now what I want you to think about is it could also start bringing up more and more available options that you may not be seeing in your day-to-day life. The second one I thought was real interesting, and that was writing. What is it, if you like to journal, start writing some good things. I think talking more about keeping a gratitude journal. What are 3 things that you could really be grateful for today, and writing this down. The third one, though, I would have never thought of, and that was play. And she went on, and there was more in the study where she talked about young children at play. And if they played well, they become adults who can handle things a lot better. But that doesn't mean that if we didn't play as a child, we can't play right now. So, are there ways that you can play? And it could be golf. It could be going out and tossing a frisbee. If you have kids or grandkids, playing with them. But all 3 of these things can really lead to an increase in maintaining a positive attitude. But doing something for an hour could last a day, if not longer. And when you practice it long term, it just really starts turning your attitude around. But there's other things that I believe that you can do that if they bring you joy. Like for me, I love listening to music, and music brings me joy. I'm not much of a writer, and it doesn't really bring me joy, but I can tell you that meditation for me is a non-negotiable, so that is something that I work on. At the end of the day, this is what I want you to keep in mind, is that if you don't feel that you have a positive attitude, you can change yourself to giving yourself one by taking some steps. It's not like you're going to be resigned to being a pessimist the rest of your life. And there are some really good reasons to maintain that positive attitude. Not to say, at the very least, I think people like to be around people who are positive versus negative. So if you are somebody that, you feel like you're a pessimist, you can change it.